welcome to the Serpent Temple podcast. I am here with me and Floyd.
Yo, what is up?
What is up? Today, we're going to talk about Floyd's experience at Outbreak Festival, which I'm assuming was amazing. And we're going to catch up. It's been a while since we've been here. I apologize for the big silence. We were going to have stuff happen, but it's been busy. We've been doing lots of things.
Yeah, it's been crazy. You went to your first hardcore show.
I went to my first hardcore show. Yeah.
Harm's Way, a good band to introduce you to the world of two-stepping. And
yes. So two-stepping was something I'd heard about. And then when I actually saw it happen, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
I'd never thought I would... I didn't know what it looked like, and it's really strange. It's like the first thing I thought of was like little gnomes dancing, because I was at the Underworld, so I was on like the balcony and I was looking at everyone because there was no way I was getting down in the pit. I knew it was going to be really violent, and it was. But yeah, it was cool. It's a really nice vibe, and the crowd was like super awesome. Watching people stage dive was really cool. There was so many stage invasions, and like all of the bands on the bill were like really, really good as well.
Yeah, Underworld's quite a good venue for that because it is quite a low stage.
Yeah.
So where were you standing? Were you standing on like the little bit at the bit at the side, looking at the side of the stage, or like the other bit?
The bit that goes into the backstage.
Oh yeah.
That's like because then you've got the toilets right behind you.
Yeah.
So if you need to go, you can just go and come back. It's perfect. It's like the best place to stand. But I've doxed myself now. Doxed my Underworld.
Was the guy there in this chair? Who's always there?
The guy in his chair? No.
Oh, he might be because it's a hardcore show. He might not be there, but I see him at every single metal show. So he must just like camp out just to get that spot.
Oh,
he's always there.
Yeah, like I should get the whole lineup up because I don't want to do any of the other bands there. It was a really big bill, and there were like 4 bands. 4. Yes, I can count.
Was anyone doing the coin pickup dance move where they're like kind of like picking at the ground?
Is that a thing?
Yeah. James
did it.
James does it. Yeah,
he did it. It was so funny. I put it in my stories, the video of James just being James, and like so many people messaged me like, "Who's that guy?" And it was all men. There's like one girl that was like, "Damn, like he's really powerful." And then all these like literally, I went to the gym and someone was like, "Who's that guy that was in your store? Like, is he but like what does he do?" Everyone wanted to know.
He's a fucking unit, to be fair.
He is a unit. He was amazing.
They would have played Parasite, right? The one where he does the running man thing.
He did the running man for like 3 seconds. Everyone was like, "Oh!" And my favorite song was Devour.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite song of Harm's Way, like whole discography. I'm obsessed with like the whole album that came out last year is amazing. But Devour has like this really awesome breakdown at the end, and then they'd like start playing with the rhythm of the vocals, and the way it like intersects with the music is like, I'm obsessed with it. I listen to it like every day for a month.
It's really good. Great gym music.
Yes.
It's really metallic and it's a little bit sludgy at times as well. So it's got like that almost equal parts metal and hardcore.
They've got like a bit of industrial in there too. A bit of, like,
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Like the Nine Inch Nails influence is like super present on like Temptation, which they played as well. So it was really... I don't know, it's just really funny like watching a big guy go like Temptation and just be all like, it's a really good song. The whole bill, so the first band was Chaos Reigns, who that's what it says on the website. Oh, it's Bind. It was Bind. Okay, I've been corrected. I stand corrected. I sit corrected. Bind were first. They were from like Exeter or Devon or something. They were from like the countryside.
Do they have West Country accents?
I don't know.
No.
They were from the sticks. They were really good, and they were like kit sharing with most of the bands.
That'd be sick if you had a hardcore band from that part of the world and they
like
yelled in a West Country accent. That would be legit. That'd be like, remember that band Gore Rotted? That had and they used to scream in a Cockney accent.
Yeah, they were great.
Shit was legit.
They were great. I saw them play.
Oh, really?
They were really good.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Only Tools and Corpses. Such a good pun.
They had that song Angel of Meth.
Yeah.
I saw them play that with Benediction at the Ulu like 2011. Anyway, so Bind were first. They were really good. They were really young. I think they were just like early 20s, like kids. They were very good. I noticed immediately from the very beginning that every single band uses bass drops, which I love. I'm a big bass drops guy. And they have like, everyone had backing tracks as well, which is quite unusual for me as someone who goes to metal shows, because I've seen hardcore bands play like festivals and stuff. So I've seen like Knocked Loose, I've seen bands like Zulu and like Hellfest or Bloodstock, but it's a super different crowd. So it was like the actual atmosphere of the night was totally different for me. And I found there were loads of women. It was really good. I heard there was like a 50-50 split at Outbreak, which is cool.
Oh, yeah. I'd say so. Yeah,
I think
easily.
that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I didn't think about it until you mentioned it there, but yeah, I think from what I remember.
Yeah, super different
Not
to
that I was
metal.
keeping tabs or anything.
You've got a little clicker in your pocket. Yeah, we should actually do that one day and be really weird and uncomfortable to be around. But yeah, Bind started off. Then it was Chaos Reigns. They were very good. Chaos Reigns was the guy in the vest, right? Yeah. So Chaos Reigns' singer reminded me of the singer of Ecstatic Vision. He's like a hardcore version of that guy, and he's just like this like curly haired guy in like a vest, and he's like skinny. He's got that kind of like Manic Dream Pixie Boy hardcore guy look.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't watch this. But they were very good. They were really charming, and like he had a really good stage presence, and he literally like, so you know the balcony thing, he like climbed across it.
Oh shit.
So he literally like climbed across us and then jumped into the crowd and did like a whole song in the actual crowd.
Fuck, yeah.
And then like the guitarist got down there, which was so stressful because like obviously all their leads are like just in the crowd.
Yeah.
We were like, I think me and Shem were just like, oh my god, what with their gear? Like, what's going to happen to their gear? Are they going to get plugged out? Like, oh man, it was so stressful. But it looked really good, and they were just going for it.
Yeah.
Really, really fucking good live. Super, super heavy. Yeah, I really like their stuff. And then it was After Smoke Clears. The singer of After Smoke Clears is like so neurotic. He got on. You can just tell he's intense. He got on stage and just the way that he was singing was so like it was so sharp. Shem's washing is done. Yeah, like the way he was singing was like really like, I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
He was so intense.
That sounds a bit like, I'll get to them when we review Outbreak, but the singer of Chat Pile was a bit like that.
Really?
Yeah, that was weird. That was an odd set.
Yeah, it was like almost uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
it was heavy. They were really good, but it was almost uncomfortable. And then Harm's Way, like everything went off.
Yeah.
There was this like one guy. Oh, the cat's back. There was one guy during Harm's Way. The whole night he was like standing behind us in the queue, and he was like he looked so cool. Like, he had tattoos literally. He was bald and he had tattoos from here like all the way down.
Yeah,
and you could just tell he was probably like in his like 40s or something, and you could just tell he'd been to like every hardcore show.
Yeah.
But he just knew he was like a proper like old school guy, and he just sort of stood there for like the whole night, just like.
I wonder if he is, because there's a guy that runs a security company that they're at Outbreak as well, and I think they do hardcore festivals, and the main guy that runs it is a big like tattooed like bald guy.
Is it?
And they are the one that run kind of like or keep an eye on all the crowd, all the stage divers, and all the shit going on in the pit near the front.
There is a guy like that at the Underworld who does security anyway, and I've seen him, but he's massive. This guy was like very like, he goes to the gym, but he wasn't like
He wasn't like super like bulky or anything.
He wasn't super bulky. He was just like he was like a Cockney Henry Rollins.
Oh yeah.
That's how I viewed him. I'm saying this in a complimentary way. I thought everyone there looked really cool. Like the main thing I noticed actually, everyone there was in shape.
Yeah.
And the pit was like, everyone in the pit was a gym guy, and the people were taking their tops off and like fighting each other. Whereas at a metal show, like most people wouldn't do that.
I literally thought you were going to say, as a metal show, most people are not in shape.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. That's not necessarily true.
No,
it depends on the genre as well.
No.
But yeah, like you wouldn't necessarily see that at a Doom show, like 5 insanely ripped guys just like going at each other. Yeah.
They're either like really gangly at hardcore shows, or they're like quite like bulky.
Yeah.
And like in shape.
And I noticed people like really looked after themselves there. Again, not something I'm used to as someone who goes to like stoner shows and stuff where people are like doing quite the opposite, which is cool too. It's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, I think it's the strange dichotomy of hardcore and the hardcore scene in general being a lot more inclusive.
Yeah.
And liberal, but at the same time, they're the most violent shows you can go to.
So violent.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah, this guy, I was talking about the tattooed guy who was like this most of the time, like occasionally nodded at a good riff, and then when Harm's Way started, he went into the pit. He went right to the front. And our mate Ed was there, who was like the first bassist of Lowen, basically, and he was like singing with James and like right up in the front. It was cool. James had his own like little crowd of people that were just like moving at the front, and they were all just like,
that's always cool. I love that.
Yeah. It's super, super cool. And like all the crowd surfers, and the energy was just mad. Like I've never been to a show where I've felt so pumped. It was really, really nice. Like I definitely want to go to more hardcore shows. And Harm's Way, like just, they had the crowd in the palm of their hand. Like James would just tell people what to do and they'd be like, yes, sir. They'd go and do it.
The Underworld's a good venue for that. I don't really see too many hardcore shows at the Underworld, funnily enough. But it's... I remember seeing Vision of Disorder there years ago, about 2012, I think. It's the first time I'd ever seen them live. And that was wild. That was pretty raucous. And it was actually so raucous that... And I have never, ever seen this again at the Underworld. They put a barrier up because apparently they played the previous year and it was so fucking wild. They were like, we cannot afford the possible risk of injury here. So they actually put a fucking barrier up at the Underworld. I'd never seen that at the Underworld, like, since...
That show was the day after. I can't remember what band it was. It was in New York, where it wasn't even like a metal band, I don't think. But the guy like stage dived and paralyzed a woman.
Oh, that's fucked. Yeah, I saw that. It was like an indie show or something.
Yeah, it was an indie show, and it was just like a girl, like a girl, like her neck or back broke or something.
Yeah, it was just a really unfortunate, awkward landing. Like,
really
just look, this is the main reason I'll never fucking stage dive. I'll never ever subject anybody to that.
I think I'd die if you landed.
No, just like fuck that.
It was like. It's really cool to watch, and like there are definitely moments where I'm tempted to go and join, but I think it would just be suicide, honestly.
Well, the thing is, you're probably a bit like me, where you train and you do things like MMA or like just like weightlifting. You don't want to risk injury, and it's just that simple. I'm just like, I can't afford to go in, and it's not even so much like getting hit. I'm just like, I could just turn and then like slip my meniscus and stuff, and then I'm fucked. So.
I did a clean and press with a log the other day, and I felt my back, like I went too far back, and I felt my spine go weird. It was the worst feeling.
See, I've always wanted to try log lifting. They had it at Bloodstock once, and because there was two like strength challenges. So one was I definitely mentioned this on the podcast before, but one was a log and one was like a Mjolnir, like a hammer that was like 25 kg. And I really wish I did the log one because I've always wanted to do log lifting.
It's really fun.
But I think what you said is one of the things I always hear is that because you've got to arch your back.
Yeah, because you've got to when you
get into position.
It's more explosive, and like I have good power explosively, but I wasn't expecting the momentum to make me go so far back, so I overcompensated basically. And like I've done it before and I've cleaned it fine. It's 25 kg actually, but it's like even if the weight isn't heavy, the movement can be dangerous, and that's when you're in control. So I don't know what it's like at a fucking pit. No,
it's just wild. And then like I saw some madness at Outbreak. Like heard rumors of like broken bones and shit, which I think is just commonplace at most hardcore festivals, to be honest. But just the people that are into it, because I kind of consider myself to be an outlier on the scene because I grew up like similar to Shem, like really getting into hardcore first and then kind of verging into metal, and then I've kind of rediscovered my love for it in recent years with and one of the bands that I absolutely love at the moment, they dropped an album not too long ago, is Speed. You ever listen to Speed? Fucking sick. They've got like, there's one song, can't remember the name off the top of my head because I'm under pressure, but there's a flute solo in it.
Oh, no way.
So I have to play it for you afterwards.
I saw the video.
It's sick.
Yeah, it's like a viral video at the moment going around of them playing live.
It's called One Mode. What's that called?
But it's but they like dropped a new album. I actually listened to it on the way up. It was so
cool.
good. Like the production's legit.
I want to play you God Complex in the car later.
Bro,
they're so good.
Sick.
Yeah, I've never heard of God Complex.
Bro,
They only
Nina's like, I'm going to play God Complex, and I was just lying there like, what the fuck?
Who the fuck are God Complex?
They're actually from Merseyside.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Are they actually from Merseyside?
That's what it said on their social media.
Yeah.
I thought they were American because I was like, oh, no one seems to have heard of this band, so they can't be from here. They only have like 3,500 followers on Instagram, but I think the Spotify algorithm picked them up.
Yeah, 88,000.
Yeah, they've got like crazy listeners on Spotify. They are really good.
Yeah,
they're fantastic.
Like Frontierer, but catchy.
Yeah, it's like hardcore Frontierer. Frontierer's catchy in my opinion, but I think for like I like
I ain't
that. I
talking
like
shit
that
on
spicy
Frontier.
shit.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying that. Frontier are a great band.
Man, Spotify listeners are mad. I was looking at bands the other day, and one of the headliners at Outbreak, which I'll get to when we cover it more in depth, was Basement. You know, the kind of like...
Oh yeah. I've never listened to them.
They are really good, but obviously they've had a bit of renewed success thanks to one of the songs, Covet, being TikTok famous.
Oh, it makes such a difference.
I fucking love that song. It's such a good song.
It's so good.
It's such a good song.
This sounds bad because I always recognise the name, but I thought they were an emo band.
They kind
of are a little bit.
they?
Yeah.
They're like Title Fight. They're like emo hard.
Right.
Yeah,
I
it's-
never got into the
Title
emo
Fight's a bit
stuff.
tougher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit, not much.
But the listeners, 2.3 million.
Fucking hell.
Mental. They're like ahead of like Hatebreed and fucking all these other bands that huge like got much more. Opeth are on like 700,000.
You're kidding.
And they're headlining Bloodstock this year.
What?
Yeah, they're like 683,000. Just shows the impact that having a TikTok viral song. Deftones are up to like 10 million now, thanks to TikTok. Even though I'm sure Deftones were a couple mil anyway, because you know
Deftones.
they're pretty big.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That is the industry standard as well. It's not like Facebook likes or Instagram followers anymore. It is your Spotify listeners.
But do you know the weird thing about it is, this is the point I want to make, was despite even if you've got good metrics on Spotify, I feel like it doesn't always translate to success
sales.
on the stage.
Absolutely.
Because I've seen bands that are like fucking got shit tons of listeners, have a dead crowd or like barely anybody watching them. So
and they only want to watch for the TikTok moment, and then they all fuck off.
yeah, like Lorna Shore, like
Yeah.
just saying, like
You said this like 8 times.
yeah. Oh fuck! I ain't gonna say it again. I'm done.
I have to listen to that story one more time.
That story's done.
No more.
I was going to say it again as well. That's the worst part. I was actually going to say it
I
again.
know you're bad.
I like it. I don't mind the repetition. It's fun.
Got my shit on, but more fucking repetitive than George fucking Corpse Grinder Fisher's stage banter. That's not changed in like 20 years.
Oh.
But talking of imposing frontmen, I've mentioned the band Restrictor Plate before. They've got an album that's all about Daytona and like cars and shit. Have you seen a picture of the frontman?
He's awesome.
Is he a big man?
No.
It's like, well, I'll see if I could.
Is he a little man?
He looks like X-Park, kind of.
Who?
X-Park.
What is X
He's
Park?
a wrestler.
Oh,
Yeah, kind of like a
Don't
bold
know
X-Pac.
yeah, X Park. I thought it
I'll
was
see
like
if
some
I
kind
can
of
get. I'll see if
gaming
I can get
system.
it to scroll up because it's definitely been posted in this chat. So I'll scroll back a bit, see if I can find
He
it.
looks a bit like the singer of Mortician.
Yeah, it does look a bit like Will Rama.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it? Nice.
Do you know what he looks like?
I know. I just know what the logo of Mortician looks
Oh,
like.
yeah.
And I know that there's a Facebook page called "I Make Memes in My Basement While Listening to Mortician."
Mortician are a weird one. I remember getting into them when I was younger and just thinking this is the worst sounding like shit I've ever heard, like production wise.
So good.
Production is such a big one for me. I can't. I don't like the old style production shit. Not into that sounding like it was recorded in a box stuff. Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
Yeah, no. Well,
This is so
that
good.
reminds me because I've been, as I've told you guys, I've been re-listening to the Opeth discography,
Yeah.
and on their Spotify, on their earlier albums on Spotify, there's always like a track or two at the end that's like a demo, and it sounds so fucking rough. Like obviously Opeth are known for being like, you know, sonically like pretty fucking polished and clean, right?
Yeah.
But then when these demo tracks come in, it's like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, that's been a good journey. Where the fuck is a picture of this guy? Got to be getting closer now.
Play guy, I think this is.
I think maybe we look at the picture of this guy after, perhaps.
I'll flash up on the screen. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shem's gonna flash
I'll show you
the
afterwards.
restrictor guy.
But he looks legit.
Legit.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
Too legit to quit.
Yeah.
We're doing it with, like, this is like the Farnge episode. It's like cool looking frontmen.
Yeah, we should do an episode on like coolest looking
Cool looking
frontmen.
frontmen.
And
yeah,
front
top,
women.
top 10 most legit looking people in there.
Legit looking
Yeah, just people who look legit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Michael Ackerfeld with his hat though. That's a
I
vibe.
love his hat. Yeah,
Be
imagine
interested
going.
to see if he wears it at Bloodstock.
What if it blows away?
Good point.
Yeah, I'd be really worried about my hat blowing away because it's clearly not a cheap hat.
No.
Hats are very expensive. Should we go into Outbreak?
Let's do it. Yeah, it was. Well, yeah. So this is their. So they're back at the BEC Arena now. So there was somewhere else last year. Can't remember the name of it because I didn't go because my friend was getting married at the same time. So selfishly, he booked that date during Outbreak.
Can't believe
which
it.
still hadn't forgiven him for. But yeah, it was great. But one of the cool additions this year was they had an outdoor stage. So you had the outdoor stage, the main indoor stage, which would have been the main stage when we went to Damnation. And then there was another stage, kind of like, which would have been, the second stage when we were in Damnation as well. And it was, it worked well because when you look at the lineup this year, there was actually quite a good split of kind of like more emo adjacent bands and like melodic hardcore versus like some of the more straight up beatdown stuff. And a lot of that stuff was like relegated to the main stage. So you found that you weren't like involved in like a big crush going between stages, because that was always my main complaint about Damnation when it was in Leeds. Like trying to navigate between the stages there was always a nightmare, which I've also mentioned multiple times in this podcast. So I think having like a clear delineation between what sort of bands would be on which stage, like a lot of the pure hardcore was on the main stage, and it just I feel like being indoors lends so much better to like a pure hardcore set. Like it was like one of my highlights was Incendiary, who I think a band I've gotten into way too fucking late.
They're amazing.
They're good, yeah.
They're so fucking good, like so ridiculously heavy. And they played in 2022 as well, but like this set this year was just as good, and it was just completely just off the wall. But no, it was great. What I'll do is I'll get the lineups up and go through.
I was really curious so I saw some videos of Outbreak, and the outdoor stage had like a second stage?
All the stages had this.
Okay.
So this is something that they introduced last year. So there's like a secondary, there's like a little platform below, which is where people can run up, like stage invade, and then run across and then dive off. And I think you guys were saying that Gavin was talking about this on the Two Promoters podcast,
So
right?
it's to stop people from ruining gear, I think.
Well, that was the conclusion that I came to, because I remember
Fucking hell.
I remember in 2022, before they introduced this kind of secondary kind of part of the stage. So I'm just watching Shem.
Shem just destroyed a house plant.
Shem's back with his crowd killing shit, plant killing. But yeah, so just like, there's a few sets where like leads would get unplugged and shit, and it was just obvious that they were probably trying to find a way to mitigate or minimize that happening, and it worked well because it meant that I felt like it made the stage invasions probably a bit safer as well.
Yeah.
Because you had less of a distance from like the floor, so when you were diving off, you weren't diving off from as great a height, which I think might have also maybe been a health and safety thing, because it would have minimized obviously the impact
And onto
when you hit the
concrete.
floor. And there's a lot of people that hit the fucking floor. The first that I saw was Scarab, which I think is the singer that used to be in Year of the Knife.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of their sets on Hate 56. They played at the one of the places in, is it a church in Philadelphia or something? It's a set I always.
Church.
That's the one. Yeah, it's the one I always see on Hate 56, and I was just like, wow, that was fucking sick. I can't wait to see them at Outbreak. And it was legit. But the thing I remember most from that set is this guy ran across, did like a swanton bomb, which is like basically a somersault, and fucking like landed on the small of his back at the top. So if he under rotated by like an inch or two, he'd be fucked. Like he would have been paralyzed. Like, and he stood up, and there's like people like shining light in his eyes, make sure he hadn't concussed himself. But I was like so fucking lucky. It was like maybe like 10 centimeters away from me. I was like, I'm not fucking catching anyone. Sorry, mate. But yeah.
That's so scary.
Yeah, so what you experienced in Harm's Way,
It's like a tiny tenth of what you were
it's
seeing.
like that tenfold Outbreak.
Oh
Like the
my
hardcore
God.
community just go fucking hard. It's just like there's completely it's absolute pandemonium.
There needs to be like a little like wimp gallery where people like me can go and just like look down on everybody.
Well, so what they do is, you've got like an inner circle, which I think is still referred to as the gold circle. So you can sign a waiver,
Death waiver.
which allows you entry into the inner circle bit. But if you haven't signed that waiver, you can't gain access to it.
Okay.
So there's like a barrier halfway between the outdoor stages and the stages indoors, which have got like a little elevated bit as well. So you can actually stand there beyond the barrier halfway back and get a good view of the bands, and you're completely safe from any of the action.
Hell yeah.
Because it's...
Also, the circle's down. Like, if you're not in the circle, you have a better point of, like, you can see better.
Well, what it is, because the way they've got the barriers set up, there's like a little like metal grid or platform that gives you like maybe a couple inch boost. So you can actually, if you get there early enough, similar like in the Underworld, you could get there and you'd get a couple of inches off the ground, so you get like quite a good view, and you could like take the weight off and watch like the sets from like halfway back. So it's a pretty good setup, to be fair.
That's really
and I watched a lot of sets from there because like fucking I just got tired of standing a lot of the times. Like I watched Have Heart from there, and it was great because I didn't want to be anywhere fucking near the front because I knew that set was going to be wild. So I was like watching it kind of like from side onwards, and it was
What was the wildest set?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me start from the beginning.
Okay.
And I'll run through, so I'll re-jog my memory. So I've got the stage times here. I do remember that Scarab was definitely the first band, which I've already kind of covered, and they were great. It was a great way to kind of start it. Saturday. Oh, second band I saw was Gridiron.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Gridiron are like a fucking much heavier, like tougher Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh.
So it's got like a rapper, but then the guitarist does like harsh, like gang vocals as well. And it was like the riffs are fucking tough. And let me tell you, it kicked off for that. Like, that was wild. And like, it's funny because there's so many bands here who I only have like a passing knowledge of, because I do like a little bit of Spotify listening, but I'm more of like an old school guy. Like, I kind of grew up with Sick of It All, Madball, Agnostic Front. So that's kind of like my era of hardcore. So that's why discovering all these newer bands now has been great for me, because, and I think I was mentioning this to Shem, like, I don't tend to listen to a lot of hardcore on like Spotify or in my spare time, because I feel like it's something that you kind of have to experience live. That's really where like the heart of the experience of hardcore music is, because I feel like there's some bands who I think really struggle to capture the same energy they bring onto the stage into like a recorded output. So I think that another reason why I think the Speed album's so good, because it's produced amazingly. Like, it sounds so fucking good. So I think when the band manages to hit both those fronts, that's when they're onto something special.
Hell yeah.
But then the metal scene's similar to that as well, though, really. I mean, there's how many metal bands, how many times have you seen a band you've never seen before at a festival? You're like, oh, that band was fucking sick. You check them out on record, it's like, oh, this sounds like dog shit.
It's super mid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't capture the energy.
So that's kind of like the way I am with a lot of modern hardcore bands. But like Gridiron, I will say Gridiron are one of those bands that are worth checking out in person as well. Then on the main stage there was Nothing, which are kind of like I like Nothing. Yeah, they're really good. They're kind of like a post-rock band. So they were playing Guilty of Everything in full, which is actually a really good album. It was really mellow, really chill. It was a very interesting juxtaposition going from Gridiron, which was really high intensity, to Nothing, which was like about as mellow as you could get. It's probably one of the more mellow bands of the entire festival.
Do you know the singer of Jesus Peace played bass in Nothing for a while?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Oh, that's wild. I did not know that. Well, that's cool. Then who else do we got? Then Jive Bomb were fucking sick.
Cool.
So they're like a female-fronted hardcore band. Ooh. They're a bit more kind of like punky and crusty. So that was really like high energy as well. And I don't think they've got much material. So like the whole set was maybe like sub 20 minutes. But it was, and that's another good thing about hardcore shows as well, is the fact that the amount of times I've been to a festival and you just get bored of sitting through like 40+ minute sets all the time. Like hardcore, it's just like such a short adrenaline burst. It's like a 20-minute set and then it's done. And even the headliners are like playing for like 40 minutes. So it's like fucking... So it's just, I think for all our ADHD addled brains that we're all developing, it's just the perfect amount of time for a set, really, in this day and age.
Yeah.
But no, Jive Bomb were really fucking sick. That was good. God, then Poison the Well. Oh. This was my highlight. This was my personal highlight. So you got to understand, Poison the Well, one of those bands who were like pioneer in metalcore at the turn of the century. And whereas like you took a metalcore band like Killswitch that went down like the Gothenburg route, whereas like Poison the Well kind of went down more the hardcore side of metalcore. Hardcore. Yeah, more like metallic hardcore. Yeah, 100%. And I've never seen them live. So it was just completely like a bucket list moment for me. And the set list was amazing. They played Apathy as a Lost Body. They played Ghost Chant, Nerdy, which is probably their biggest hit. There was a stage invasion for Nerdy, and there was so many people on the stage that it was like almost collapsing or some shit.
Oh my God.
So they had to stop the song, clear everybody off.
No.
And then the fucking singer was just like, fuck it, I'm coming down to you lot. So then he came down and it was just like fucking, it was just legit. Like everybody was into it. And it's funny because I felt like it was like the shoe was on the other foot, because there was so many people there who are probably more familiar with a lot of the newer bands that were there. Yeah. Whereas like it was the reverse for me. Like I was like, I know a lot and listen to a lot of Poison the Well. So afterwards, I saw so many like younger people with like Poison the Well baseball caps that they must have bought from the merch stand, and I think they converted so many fans because it was just legit. And they're one of those bands that've got like really great vocal melodies as well. When you listen to a lot of the early metalcore shit or the metallic hardcore stuff, some of the vocals, the clean vocal passages are really bad and just really poorly done. But Poison the Well have always been really, really tasteful with the way they've done it, just really well constructed, and it doesn't sound like kind of like a pop punk like knockoff.
I hate that. It really turns me off.
That's what was always good about them. They never, even though they had kind of like emo, it's so hard to explain. They never sounded.
They don't sound whiny.
Yeah, no, they never sounded whiny. Yeah. They're the band that got me into hardcore, man.
Yeah, you talk about Poison the Well a lot.
I love Poison the Well.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. They played an artist surrendering of me, which was fucking, that was also legit. But it was a great set, and that was one of the only like truly hardcore bands, apart from Have Heart, that played the main stage for the entire weekend. So it was great to have like an outdoor experience with like more of a hardcore orientated band, because a lot of the true like proper heavy bands were indoors. So that was cool, and the weather was great for the whole weekend. Cloudy, the sun didn't come out once, and I was like, that's fine by me.
How was the food?
Whew, no comment. Well, okay, you gotta understand, every soul there is vegan.
Yeah.
I'm not a vegan, so I bought chips once, and that's the only food I bought there. So I was bringing shit in every day. So I was bringing packets of beef jerky and stuff, just eating it discreetly, so to not offend anyone.
Discreetly eating your beef jerky.
But it was. But you know what? Based on what everyone else was saying, a lot of people said that the food there was amazing.
Oh, that's really good.
So there was I will say they had massively upped their game since 2022.
Great.
Because from what I remember there only being maybe like 5 or 6 stands in 2022, and there was like hour-plus long queues for everything. There was a lot of stands. They made very good use of the outdoor space at the BEC. It was something that I was actually quite apprehensive of, because I was thinking, well, how the fuck are you going to fit an outdoor stage?
And that.
Like, where's everything going to go? Because normally Damnation and Outbreak had the merch tents outside.
So it didn't feel like there was a lot of place.
No, so they've used the bit where, I can't remember what Damnation we're using it for, but it was a skate park the first time I went to Outbreak, but got turned into the merch tent.
That's so cool.
For this year, and it was a good space. So yeah, it was actually logistically, it was really, really well organised and set up. And apparently they was doing vegetable gyozas there that were really good. Like, those platters looked really nice. So, but I didn't do it because it's mainly because I'm trying to save money. So, and I just don't want to sink loads of money into fucking food when I could just wait until I get back and get something from the corner shop or something.
I hear you.
So, but now, so let's see where we are. So Poison the Well, that's fantastic. It was non-stop on Saturday, and then I caught a bit of Magnitude.
Yeah.
Who were fucking sick.
Hell yeah.
So obviously we had a bit of a run-in with them.
We did.
Yeah, and it was great to meet those guys.
Yeah, I just saw them, and I was like, you guys are going to Outbreak, aren't you? They were like, how did you know?
We're fucking playing it.
Yeah.
But they were fucking sick. Like, let me tell you, like, people were into it. Like, they had stage invasions and shit as well. Like, it was proper energetic. So I'm absolutely kicking myself that I never checked him out beforehand.
The bassist is in Jesus Piece.
That's correct. Yeah, he's a newer member of Jesus Piece. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
But I think they were part of the package tour that, like, Scarab and I think Mind Force were on as well. So I think they do a run around Europe around about this time.
And they were saying the singer puts in, like, Lord of the Rings quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you notice any?
No, because it's just like, my hearing's so fucking dog shit. I'm not picking up anything anybody's saying. But it was a 6 set. It was really good. And then I ran to catch them and ran back to catch Touche and More.
Oh, yeah.
Who were fucking unreal. Now, they're like the kings of like, kind of like sad boy melodic hardcore. Yeah. And I decided, and this was so stupid of me, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to try and get front for them, like Barrier. Ooh. And I was thinking, they are melodic, so there might not be that many stage divers. It might be okay. And I couldn't get Barrier, so I was like one behind. So I was behind a couple friends that I was there with. And I was just like, you know what, it'll probably be all right. And then they opened with Flowers in You, which is like arguably their most popular song. So it just erupted, and like I had about 50 people jump on me in one song. And my theory is, like, now you got to think, if you're stage invading and you're running to do a stage dive,
I'd choose you.
Yeah, exactly, right? So who the fuck are you going to jump on?
The big guy.
Yeah, so... So I had people, I think, felt like I was being specifically targeted because like they're like, this motherfucker's gonna catch me. But they got to the point where I had like 3 people jump on me at the same time. I was like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm out.
Imagine like the Matrix where like all the agents are like jumping on.
Yeah.
Like...
Honestly, it was like that. It was a proper dog pile. But it was fucking wild. And I was just like, nah, man, I'm like fucking what's his name from. What's that film with him? I can't remember anybody's name. Man, he says I'm too old for this shit. Because Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon. Thank you. Yeah. So then I watched the rest of the set from like kind of like side. So I was watching all the chaos from like the front at the side, which was but it was a great set. And the singer, bless him, he said that 2022 was his favorite set that the band's ever played, and I think he mentioned or alluded to the fact that the set had eclipsed it, and he was actually crying at the end. He was like overcome with emotion. Like Jeremy, his name is Jeremy Bone. That's his name.
Jeremy, bless your soul.
And it was really sweet. And the crowd were chanting "Touche Amore," but doing that football chant. You know, oh, touche amore. So,
That's
which
great.
is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was like so.
Did they play uppers and downers?
No.
Oh,
No.
that's my favourite song.
No.
Well, you don't have as much FOMO now.
No, I played like Limelight and like all the big hits and like Pathfinder and stuff.
Pathfinder's great.
But no, it was a great set. And then it was just, and then they finished, and I fucking ran to catch the last 15 minutes of Mind Force.
Nice.
Now, I don't know if you listen to Mind Force, but like they are also like the singers also got that kind of Zach De La Rocca style energy, and it's just like that looked like that was the most violent set of the entire weekend. Because I had some people who were big Mind Force fans who watched their entire set, and they said the entire Gold Circle bit, which is you could, now just for context, you can normally go into the Gold Circle bit and hang near the back, and you'd be all right. Like it's only really like the first sort of 20 feet where like a lot of the action's happening, but they were just like, no, the entire Gold Circle was kicking off. There was multiple pits. There was like just people losing their fucking minds.
Wow.
So I think it was their first show in the UK.
Right.
So like,
People
and it
going
was,
for
and
it.
it was wild, and it was just complete, just pandemonium.
That must feel amazing as a band to play
Yeah.
your first show in a country and people have that reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching it from kind of like the steps, which kind of connect you to like the entrance. So I got like a good view of the stage, and it's just like the Battle of the Somme. Like it was just like just bodies just going over just constantly. Like it was just.
Wow.
So I can't wait for them to release that live set because obviously I only
Yes.
caught the last 15 minutes of it.
It's so good they recorded everything.
Yeah, and they do a great job. Like, if anybody who's like a hardcore fan and who enjoys, like, say, Hate 5/6's content, like, watch the Outbreak, like, pro shot sets. Like, they're really, really well done. Like, especially the ones from 2023 and 2022. Like, they're properly pro shot, and they do a really good job of capturing the energy, like, as it was there. So, but yeah, so I got them in time to watch them play Excalibur, which is one of their biggest hits, which was just absolute chaos. And then I think from there, I ran out again to catch, what might have been Have Heart afterwards. No, oh God, I forgot. No, Have Heart was. No, yeah, I'm right. It was Have Heart, which was fucking wild, obviously. Now, the thing is, I actually wasn't too familiar with Have Heart until this year. They must have just passed me by, because I think they kind of like broke big, like mid-2000s, right? 2006? Yeah. 2008?
One of the best hardcore bands.
But yeah, they were so fucking good. Like, I've listened to the albums, like, in the lead up to this festival. And so, obviously, I didn't have the same resonance with it as people that had been listening to it for close to 20 years. But, like, I was still a big fan of the albums with the limited time I had with them. And, like, seeing it live, I could tell how special it was for a lot of people. Because the band have somewhat come out of retirement for a few shows. Cool. And it was just... and he did a great speech, actually, of like a pro-Palestine speech and stuff. And he had the name... I wish I should... This is why I should take notes. But, like, there was the name of... I think it was an author, because he's a school teacher. And he had a Palestinian kid in his class who had recommended this book about a guy telling them about their experiences within Palestine, and it was just very heartfelt, and I think just kind of fit in for, like, you know, kind of like all the crazy shit that's going on at the moment. So, and it's good that that's one good thing about hardcore. You find bands that are not scared to voice their opinion and kind of, like, you know, not sit on the fence.
Yeah.
About certain political issues. But it was great. It was an absolutely fantastic set. And then after that, I watched Chatpile, who I was mentioning a bit earlier. Now, I've listened to them a bit on record. I did not catch a single word the singer was fucking saying. He had so much stage banter. At one point, he was talking about the MCU and Winter Soldier and shit, and I had no fucking clue what the context was. It was weird, but I did kind of enjoy it, because they're like really kind of like sludgy, and it was kind of like, it's almost like if you lobotomized Primus and forced them to make a hardcore band. That's kind of what it sounds like.
That's amazing.
But it was just kind of unsettling. It was weird.
That's
like, it
cool.
had a totally different vibe from like any other band on the festival.
I can't remember who we were talking to, but I was talking to someone, and they said that Chat Pile have successfully stepped in. You know, Daughters got massive.
Yeah.
And then Daughters like fell off, rightly so.
Yeah.
Because of what happened, and Chat Pile, I think, just stepped into that.
It's 100% that. Yeah. It is 100% that. It's that same kind of weird feeling of uneasiness they get with the music.
Cinematic kind of feeling.
Yeah. But it was good. Enjoyed it. And then Basement, who I kind of already talked about a bit, but fantastic set. It was really good. They played a lot of their big hits, including the TikTok one, which had like one of the biggest sing-alongs of the entire fucking weekend. Like literally every motherfucker was singing that. And great set. And then finished off with Show Me the Body. And I don't know if you guys have listened to Show Me the Body before, but it's a banjo player. We've definitely talked about Show Me the Body, haven't we? So, but the guy does a banjo, and it's really kind of like almost electronic in a lot of parts. But like for some reason, like the music is still really visceral, and it connects with the audience in a way that is just bizarre. Like people just absolutely lose their shit for this band, and like it was Aaron, my friend's band. It was his set of the weekend, and I think they were playing late as well. But like people were still going fucking hard for it, and it was cool. I'm not overly familiar with their music, so there's not really much I can say about the set list other than the fact that it sounded pretty fucking sick from where I was, and it was good way to cap off Saturday. But yeah, so that's Saturday. Sunday, which was definitely not going to take as long because I had far fewer bands.
That's a lot of bands to watch on one day.
It was a mad run because all those bands I talked about.
It's crazy that they all played the Saturday.
Yeah, that was all Saturday, and that was all one continuous run. I didn't have a single moment to do anything.
Wow.
Apart from maybe take a piss at one point.
I'd be so hangry.
Yeah. It was, well, that's why I just made sure I was having the biggest fucking breakfasts in the world. Like, I was just carb loading in the mornings.
Just discreetly eating your beef jerky.
Yeah, the Airbnb was saying that. I was having like 10 egg omelets in the morning.
No way.
Yeah. Because the good thing about it is the first bands don't start to maybe like 1-ish. So
perfect.
And I'm an early riser, so just getting up, just getting those calories in and just fucking basically having one fuck off meal in the morning and one fuck off huge meal in the evening. And that was just doing me. So Sunday, let's see where we're at. So Sunday was a great day because that's where you had a lot of the Northern Unrest bands. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the Scottish bands that are just absolutely killing the hardcore scene at the moment. So they were on the third stage, and they were some of the best sets of the weekend. Like there's one of the bands, Demonstration of Power, were just absolutely just on fire. Like it was just absolute just pandemonium. Like just, this is one of the great things, and you probably saw this a little bit yourself when you watched Harm's Way. It's like, it's rare to see in the metal scene, I would say, such a connection between the fans and the band. It's almost like they're as one, where sometimes I think it could feel a little bit disconnected in metal sometimes. There's not too many metal shows that I've seen recently where I felt like everybody was kind of like one organism, just like enjoying the experience like together. But yeah, there was just so much of that this weekend. And the Northern and Rest bands are absolutely killing it at the moment. You had Despise, who were pretty fucking sick. You had Nothing But Enemies, who were the bands that opened up for Jesus Peace. And it was the singer of that band that fucking clocked me in the nose. So I was foolishly standing at the edge of the pit.
No.
So I had it coming. But it was, the third stage. And one thing I will say about Outbreak in general is the sound is immaculate. Like when you watch the Pro Shot sets that they've uploaded to YouTube, like that is very accurate as to how pristine the sound is when you're there watching it. Because there's been a few times in other festivals that I won't name that sometimes you see the set and there's been a lot of like engineering done, and it's just like, this did not sound this fucking good. Like no way.
A certain video commented on by the drummer of Enslaved.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. Yeah. But it was, but like one of the only other videos I've seen that's captured that same thing is, funny enough, Meshuggah at Bloodstock. Mm-hmm. Like, have you watched the...
I've not watched the playback.
It's so good.
It's so fucking good. It's one of the best live concerts ever recorded.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, well, for me, it was one of the best gigs I've ever seen in my life. So, and they did such a good job recapturing it live, and like the editing and stuff. There's one bit where Frederick's doing some like solo, and they just edit it. He starts like melting and shit. And it's just
so
like,
good.
whoa, it's like proper trippy.
That's really cool. I used to check that out.
You should totally watch it if you want to kill an hour and a half.
Yeah, I sometimes watch the old Hellfest sets, like the first Sleep show. You can see me in the video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I love watching like sets that were really good. I'm hoping Damnation do that this year, because there have been people in the forums like being like, "Oh, Gavin, why don't you do what Outbreak did and record the sets? It's a good idea."
It's interesting.
That is interesting.
Somebody was saying in the Damnation forum, I think as well, that like it can also not be good to like film every set.
It's not good if you're live streaming it, because then people aren't going to come.
Right.
But I think it's really good to record it, because it like I found out about Dunajam through live recordings. I found out about Hellfest through their stuff that they put out with they have like a partnership with a French TV station called Art, which is like where they do like classical music, they do experimental, and they sometimes put out like the Hellfest stuff. And that's why I went to France to go to Hellfest, because I saw what the crowd was like. Yeah,
that's cool. Their sets are great. Have you been watching any of the sets from this year?
From Hellfest?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, I was mentioning in the chat, which I think I pissed Shem off with the Fear Factory set. Because
I haven't watched it yet.
The new singer is so fucking good.
When you were like, he's better than Battersea Bell, I was like, come on. Let's not get crazy.
He's legit, man. Afterwards, we got to watch it afterwards. So you got to see for yourself, because it's a legit good set.
That's great.
But yeah, it's... what other set was I watching? There was I got severe FOMO, actually, because I was just like, fuck, even if, like the lineup might not have been 100% catered towards my tastes.
It was just nice to be there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, God, it's such a great fucking venue.
They had Immolation and they had Devourment.
They had Immolation. Oh, God, that would have been sick. There was, who was it? There was somebody on one of the temple stages. It was the Anal Nathrak set. That was a great set.
Oh, yeah, it looked really good.
That was a really good looking set. Oh, and Canonin Fever as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they played there. That set was fucking unreal.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're like, what's funny, because like, I'm sure, I don't know if you remember seeing their album cover.
Yeah, that cover's mad.
Yeah, it's like, they look like the mad sketchiest band ever.
They do look super duper. Apparently they're not.
They're not, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah, it's pretty much confirmed they're not, especially because the last gig they played in London was with Real Batushka, who's vehemently like...
When people say Real Batushka, it sounds like a food brand.
Yeah.
Because they've got like the real...
Real Batushka.
Real Batushka. Yeah, anyway, sorry.
But yeah, but that set looked amazing. But anyway, back to Outbreak. And there wasn't many bands I saw really on the Sunday. Like I said, Incendiary were absolutely unreal. That set was sick. Harm's Way, of course. Also, we talked a lot about Harm's Way earlier. I literally echo everything you've said about the band. Like you wax lyrical about them, and I'd echo that exact same sentiment. They were so fucking good. There was the moment when they played Parasite. Is it Parasite? Am I tripping? No. What's the Running Man song?
Honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know what song, because I'm more familiar with that video as like a video of the whole set.
Yeah, totally.
I haven't actually watched the actual meme that much.
I think he just does it sometimes.
But when it dropped, like there was a stage invasion, and there was like fucking like 20 people doing it on stage.
That's so
and it
funny.
just looked so legit. It was just so sick. So Harm's Way were great. And yeah, like I said, the Northern Rust band, another band called Hellbound that were really good. Another Northern Rust band that was sick. There was like this throwback metalcore band called Killing Me Softly. They were like a Panic Chord style metalcore band, a bit like Zao.
Yeah.
And that was fucking sick. And they're a newer band, and they were just like, whoa, this is like I'm glad that this sound is now coming back, because like I am totally not a fan of modern metalcore, like the prog production style, overly kind of saccharine metalcore really does fuck all for me, like literally less than nothing. So the fact that like the Poison the Well, Zao, like Nora style like metalcore's coming back I'm all for it, really. And yeah, that was basically all the bands that I saw on Sunday. So it was overall a great experience. And I think now that you've kind of dipped your toe in it, I think you guys would have a great time there. It is. I
think we might have to come next year.
Yeah. It's sick. And it's a great venue. Like, you've got the boxing gym upstairs.
Oh my God, I love that.
Which we had access to when we had press last year. And obviously Damnation's back there this year as well, which is looking to be another fucking stacked lineup.
We should introduce like a benching section to our interviews.
Yeah.
We'll come to Damnation this time, so...
Oh, yeah, you guys
Shem's
come. Yeah,
we're doing Damnation.
Nice,
it's official. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll come around before we know it as well.
We need to set up an interview with Danny Filth.
Oh, that'd be cool. Oh, yeah, they're doing like an old school set, aren't they?
I think so, yeah. I'd love to hear an Amphetamine. I saw them play with Gorgoroth when I was like 16. That was, I think that's the only other time.
Was that with Niall?
No, it was with Rotting Christ, I believe.
Oh,
it was either Rotting Christ or Septic Flesh. I think it was Septic Flesh.
One of the rotting bands.
It was one of the
it's
Greek
funny
bands.
they're both Greek as well. That's
They're both
Yeah.
named after some kind of rotting. Or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because both of them are playing Bloodstock this year as well.
There we go. Yeah, I'll ask them if we get to interview them. Like, well, did you play a show with Cradle of Filth in like 2006?
There was one. I remember Gorgoroth played with like God forbidden Niall one year, which is just the wildest lineup because that's like a metalcore band, death metal and black metal.
I can't imagine Carl Sanders having a conversation with Carl. I just can't see that happening.
Well, have you ever seen the clip of Carl Sanders when he's defending the frontman for Belphegor? He's at an airport and he's getting attacked by some like radical Christian group. And like Carl Sanders is like coming in and like almost threatening to use some like form of martial arts because apparently he's trained.
He's like, I'm gonna do judo if you don't step back.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
I'm gonna sacrifice you unto Sabbath.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll masturbate your war god.
On the Green Lung tour, we had this like really random bit of like getting Nile songs and making them about coffee. So like Black Beans of Vengeance.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, those are real good ones. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, isn't their newest song like super fucking long titled or something?
It has to be.
I swear they dropped something recently. I think they've dropped a new album or a new song.
Yeah, so there's stuff happening in the Nile camp. It's brewing.
Yeah, like coffee.
We should probably wrap this up and move on to our next episode, which is not going to come out at the same time as this one.
No. And also, we're actually recording this the same. We're recording this the same day as the Euros final.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to send my condolences to the England team on their loss today.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for your loss. The game hasn't happened yet.
Next time. If they win, this is going to age so bad.
Maybe the girls can win it again in a few years.
I'm hedging my bets.
I'm going to just improve my Spanish skills. Anyway, so thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Give me tips on how to get better at segues, because every time I do one, Shem like cringes in horror. It's like, why did you say it like that? Why? So yeah, thank you for bearing with us if you made it this far. And thanks.
Peace out.
Bye.